You've kind of been shot out of a cannon here in the last couple weeks. You leave for Italy as Mike Lovell's number 2.
Yeah.
You come back and you have to eulogize your friend, and you have to find a way forward for the university. How are you holding up under all that's on your plate right now?
Yeah, I'm fortunate to be able to have a really good support system. I've actually stayed in close contact with Amy Lovell, and you walk through that grief process together. Mm-hmm. We were just talking yesterday. So it's difficult. While I'm thinking about my friend and the leader of our university and how we're going to find a way to move forward, we think about what he would have wanted and what he started at this institution. So to answer your question, it's a difficult time, but I'm fortunate to be able to have a really good supportive wife and family and friends who are helping me to get through it, and a university community that's been especially supportive.
When you get a break like you just had,
yeah.
What do you do just to let your shoulders down?
One of the things that we're doing is through athletics at the university is a memorial walk. President Lovell was going to walk a portion of the Camino, 384 miles, and so teams of 3, we are doing kind of a virtual Camino walk in memory of him. That means I've been getting out every morning, early in the morning, and walking around. That's really helped me to decompress and kind of think about the important things in life. Think about Marquette University, and when possible, get a lot of golf in. We just finished our gift of time. President Lovell, several years ago, had given a second week of vacation time to employees at Marquette University through the gift of time. And it truly is a gift because we closed down the university. And so just spending time with friends and family.
Let's go back to Italy. What was this trip that was so important that Mike Lovell be there?
Yeah, so the Italy trip was actually a 2-part trip. There was a group of us who started in Spain, and it was a pilgrimage with our board members to look at our Catholic Jesuit heritage and tradition. So we started in Bilbao, we went to Montserrat, Manresa, Barcelona, and then we went over to Rome, and that's when I connected up with Mike. So I was with part of the board by myself, and then we connected in Rome. It's important. Our Catholic Jesuit faith and tradition is important. And when you think about the board, they need to understand who we are, where we come from, what we do. And so this pilgrimage helps us to basically solidify that understanding.
And President Lovell felt good going into it?
Yeah, and obviously he had been battling cancer for 3 years. And when you battle cancer for 3 years, it's tiring. And so when he went, he felt good, and he met with his doctors, and they had a plan in place. And it's like anything, you can't predict what's going to happen. But when he went, he was feeling up and ready for the trip.
And how long had he been there before you connected in Rome?
I think he flew in on a Monday, and then I connected with him on a Tuesday. Okay. Then obviously he, as things began to progress, he sought medical attention to be able to take care of himself.
So what were those days like? What were his spirits like being in Rome, surrounded by all of that and getting in touch with the tradition that was so important to him?
Yeah, so St. Ignatius, the very last Mass he was at was in the room where St. Ignatius lived at the Jesuit church in Rome. He was in great spirits. He appreciated the ability to be able to pray and be in community. In fact, I was with him on Saturday, and he and I had a really good conversation. Brief, but a good conversation. He was looking forward to being able to come back to the United States.
As late as Saturday,
Yes.
He was thinking he'd be able to come home.
Yeah, we were giving him the best medical attention in Rome that they had available. He was always very optimistic. He always had a great spirit. His faith was strong. And so he believed, till on Saturday evening that we were going to find a way to be able to get him back to the United States.
In one of the eulogies, it was mentioned there was an incident. Was there a specific incident in Rome where things turned?
Yeah, no particular incident. It's just, like anything, when you're battling cancer, at some point the battle becomes a little bit harder.
Sure.
And it got a little harder, and it just so happened he was in Rome when it was a little bit harder. If he was in the United States, it would have been a little bit harder as well.
And just to understand the timeline, so he arrived Monday, you got there Tuesday. At what point did things get to the level where Mike Lovell needed some intervention from medical?
Yeah, so, timing, it was, I believe, on the Thursday, he just went in to be able to get some medical tests. And so Thursday and Friday, they were doing some medical tests, and then Saturday, they needed to do some interventions, and so they were kind of working through that process. So started in the hospital on Thursday.
Did you ever imagine, and I don't know how you could imagine, that the man who uproots your life from California to Wisconsin, that you would be on the other side of the world with him, sharing the final moments of his life?
Yeah, I never would have imagined that, but over the last 6 years, he became to be one of my really good friends. One of the things I'll always treasure is the ability to be with him and to be able to support him and to be with his family, especially his wife, Amy. Never would have thought that, but I'm glad that I could be there for him to support him however he needed.
Is mortality and death something you two had conversations about?
Yeah, I mean, I think, when you battle it for as long as you do, cancer for 3 years, I think he understood the battle that he was facing. But one of the things he said is that he never feared death. He was a very deeply religious man, and he knows there's a better place that he would go to. I think he'll always miss his family. They were such an important part of his life.
Did he, as it sounds like you had some time to talk near the end, did he give you any final wisdom that you'd feel comfortable
His
sharing?
wisdom was, I'm ready to go home.
Yeah.
His belief was that he was going to get better and be able to come home, and that was his optimistic outlook. And I guess the wisdom I would take away from that would be to maintain that, right? Retain that positivity, even in the light of when you're struggling and find yourself in difficult situations. But he truly believed that he was going to be okay. I believe that.
In the way the universe works, can you think of a more fitting place for someone who lived the life of Mike Lovell to have it come to an end?
Yes.
In Rome?
To be in Rome, in one of the most holy spaces in the world. Obviously, I think we would much prefer to have him here, but the fact that he was in a place where so many great individuals before him were at, I think that's fitting in a lot of ways.
Let's come back to Milwaukee now. You are the acting president of the university.
Correct.
In addition to your other titles, what is the process look like today to have the next president named?
Yeah, so the Board of Trustees is responsible for working through that process. I know that they've begun looking at that process. At some point, they will announce to the community what they will be doing. Typically involves putting together a committee, having a search firm work with them to be able to look nationally to find the next leader. There will likely be listening sessions where they'll listen to the community of what is needed in the next president. They'll post that and then begin interviewing. I'm unsure of the timeline at this point, but I anticipate in the next couple of weeks or so that the board will be making an announcement about the details.
Mike Lovell, the first lay president of this university, is that the direction you see this going again? Are there enough Jesuits out there who could, where one could step up, or are we in the time now where university leadership increasingly will be lay?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there are talented Jesuits who could step into the president's role. I think it's the question is whether or not they're being called at this time to be at Marquette University to make the decision about whether or not they would be wanted to be considered for the role. But the Jesuits would tell you there are fewer and fewer Jesuits locally, which makes it more difficult, not impossible. And I work with a lot of really good Jesuits that I think would do an excellent job at president at Marquette or many other universities.
Is the job something you would want to have if they would allow you to be in the mix?
Yeah, one of the things I've always said is, and I've talked to Mike about this before, like I never needed to be a president to make my life complete, to fulfill myself. What I don't know is, what the job description would look like, what they're looking in the president. It has to be the right person. The most important thing right now is what I'm looking at is doing the job that's sitting in front of me. How do we stabilize the university? How do we get them to move forward? How do we honor President Lovell in a way that he would want it to be honored? So my job right now is just to care for the community and move forward with our strategic plan that we just recently had approved by the Board of Trustees.
As you are in the job right now, what would you say the biggest things on your plate are at this moment?
Yeah. So President Lovell had talked for many years about the headwinds of higher education. And one does not need to look very far to understand there's a shift in universities. We know that there are fewer college students that will be be available in the coming years, starting in the next year and then moving forward. Mm-hmm. So I think the first is to continue to ask, what do we need to do to ensure our Catholic, Jesuit heritage and tradition? Marquette has been around for about 150 years. We want to be around for the next 150 years and be even stronger. So what sorts of choices do we need to make? So I'm going to really focus on the groundwork we laid about ensuring that we have the right pieces in place to be able to move our strategic plan forward.
You have an athletic director position that's going to be need to be filled. What do you see happening there?
Yeah, so one of the first things that I did is the athletic director reports to the president. And it's important for the president to be in place to be able to hire that position. I was fortunate that Bill Scholl, who's a tremendous individual and a tremendous athletic director, was willing to stay on for a bit longer. And so I put that search on pause for now. We'll wait till the Board of Trustees goes through the process of hiring the next president, and then let that next president hire the athletic director who they'll work closely with.
And we have the Mike and Amy Lovell. I knew it was the Recplex. To me, it was the Recplex. What's the full name of the new facility?
Yeah, the Wellness and Rec Center.
The Wellness and Rec Center. It was always going to have that name on it.
Yeah.
Now it seems it has just a little bit more meaning than it did before.
Yeah, so part of President Lovell and Amy's desire was to continue to find ways to ensure wellness of individuals. And so that was always a vision for them about not only how do we make Milwaukee more well, but how do we do that at Marquette as well. So we are still working there. The scheduled open date is in December. We look forward to opening those doors and providing a place where our students can think about their wellness, right? Spiritual, physical, mental health, to be able to take care of themselves.
What can we do as a university besides the building that's taking shape right now to remember somebody who will probably go down in history as one of the more transformational presidents of Marquette University?
Yeah, I think just continuing to support the community. We are very thankful that we just finished a $750 million campaign for the university where we exceeded that goal. So continuing to find ways to support the university in ways that people feel good about. Whether or not it's through scholarships or through supporting specific programs. Our mission statement says that we are called to serve God. And the way we serve God is transform the lives of students and to engage in research that makes the world a better place. And so anything people can do to help us to achieve our mission is something that we would be grateful for.
As far as the university's role in the city, we're at kind of a strange moment right now. Mike Lovell and Mark Money were joined at the hip on so many things, and Mike through his passing and Mark through his desire to retire, we're going to have a change of leadership at both of these institutions in the city. How do we make sure that the path that those two institutions have been set on does not change?
I think it's ensuring that people understand there's the priorities. And I will say, as one of the nice things is that as provosts and as presidents and as a team, we meet with all of the other counterparts in the city on a fairly regular basis in meetings. And so I think it's just ensuring alignment, keeping people aligned and making sure that we're focused on, as universities, we're both called to support our city, and we can support them best when we're working together.
Is the work right now just keeping things on course?
Yeah.
And just maintaining for the next?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't think you make any dramatic changes as you wait for the next president to come at Marquette or even at UW Milwaukee. I think part of that is that if you have a good plan laid in front of you, you just continue to execute on that. And so, luckily we have that in place at Marquette. So we feel comfortable we're not going to miss a step. That I sat in on all of the important meetings with Mike as we decided the future. And so we feel good about the path we have in front of us.
As you look back on the events of the last month, what really gets to you? What is the thing that you think of that says, this is the most important thing I've learned from this time at Marquette?
Yeah, and I think it was something that President Lovell and I had talked about before. It's about just being present in the moment and holding those that you care most about close to you. Staying with your family and your friends, remaining grounded in your faith. I think it's the basics of life, about who you are and how you live. I think that's what I will take away from him and this experience.